Hello and welcome back to Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 160. I'm recording on March 20th, 2026. And I just watched the first movie of the 1948 nominee year. So this is the 21st Oscar ceremony. Still calling it Best Motion Picture. And the ceremony took place on March 24th, 1949, almost exactly 77 years ago. So the movie was The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. It was available on Tubi, which is, always a mixed bag. It's awesome that Tubi has a lot of these older movies and everything's free. But I'm not joking when in this 2 hour and 6 minute movie was closer to 3 hours because of the ads. It was at least 10 ads, probably more, and they were a minimum of like 245, 230 for some of them. Maybe not quite 3 hours, but it added it, I would say, about a half an hour to the movie, which sometimes is a detriment just to the movie itself because it kind of drags it out a little bit. But anyway, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre is a 1948 American neo-Western film written and directed by John Huston, starring Humphrey Bogart with Walter Huston, Tim Holt, and Bruce Bennett in support. Based on B. Traven's 1927 novel of the same name, film follows two downtrodden men who join forces with a grizzled old prospector and searching for gold in Mexico. John Huston developed an interest in adapting Traven's novel in 1935. Development of the film began in 1941, shortly after the release of The Maltese Falcon, but was delayed by American entry into World War II and Huston's Army service. Treasure of the Sierra Madre was one of the early Hollywood productions to be shot on location outside the United States, with extensive location shooting in Mexico as well as back in the U.S. Film continues to be highly regarded by critics and audiences, sometimes referred to as Huston's magnum opus and one of the greatest films of all time. In 1990, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry. As I said, directed and written by John Huston, produced by Henry Blank, cinematography Ted D. McCord, edited by Owen Marks, music by Max Steiner, production company Warner Brothers First National, distributed by Warner Brothers. Released January 14th, 1948, Los Angeles, January 15th, 1948, Limited, and January 24th, 1948, the rest of the U.S. The runtime of 126 minutes. Robert Blake was in this as a boy, playing a small Mexican boy. John Huston, the director, also makes a cameo appearance. His first acting role in a film. There's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not going to go into too much, mostly because it's late at night when I'm recording, but I will do a couple of things here. So Academy Awards, it was nominated for 4. It won 3. Nominated for Best Picture. It didn't win. It did win Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Screenplay. So John Huston won Director and Screenplay, and his father, Walter Huston, won Supporting Actor. There's been controversy since the 1949 ceremony because of the Academy's choice not to nominate Bogart for the Best Actor, a choice that modern critics and Academy members have since condemned. Bogart's performance has been named the best of his career. British actor Daniel Day-Lewis said that his second Oscar-winning performance as vicious oil baron Daniel Plainview in There Will Be Blood was heavily inspired by Bogart's portrayal of Fred C. Dobbs. Oh, and so I didn't, realize this was the We Don't Need No Stinking Badges movie. And that's actually not the quote, but I think that, I get that from watching UHF with Weird Al, where they say badgers, but it's the same idea. But there's a little blurb about this. John Huston's adaptation of Traven's novel was altered to meet Hays Code regulations, which severely limited profanity in film. The original line from the novel was, "Badges to goddamned hell with badges. We have no badges. In fact, we don't need no badges. We don't need badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges, you goddamn cabron and chinga tu madre." The dialogue as written for the film is, "Gold hat, we are federales, the mounted police, Dobbs. If you're the police, where are your badges? Gold hat, badges. We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges. Oh. Goldhat's response, as written by Houston and delivered by Bedoya, has become famous and is often misquoted as "we don't need no stinking badges." In 2005, the quotation was chosen as number 36 on the American Film Institute list, AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movie Quotes. Critic Leonard Maltin listed it as one of the 100 must-see films of the 20th century. Stanley Kubrick listed it as his fourth favorite film of all time. Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan has cited the film as one of his personal favorites and has said that Dobbs was a key influence in creating the character of Walter White. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, so this was good. I like this a lot. I kind of went back and forth with the rating. I was thinking 4 stars throughout, and then I sort of dropped it to 3.5, but I landed on 4. And the main reason, and again, like I said, I think that the ads on Tubi kind of added to the feeling of it being dragged out, but there was some stuff that was a little overdone and dragged out. And it was mostly the recurring issues between Dobbs and the other characters. Like they're to give a little bit of the story, they're up in the mountains mining for gold, and there's a lot of talk of them betraying each other. And Dobbs, especially Humphrey Bogart, keeps kind of circling back to the kid that's in it. I think it's Tim Holt, the actor. He's a pretty decent guy. The old prospector, if he was younger, he admits that, he might take the chance to run off with the gold, but Dobbs is a scumbag. And he's a character, the type of character that annoys me because he's, poor at the beginning, gets this opportunity to make some money. And he's going to end up poor again because there's a scene where they're talking about what they're going to do with the money. The old man basically says, that I'll have enough money to live the rest of my life. I'm just going to, live it out. The kid says he wants to buy like a peach farm or something because he used to work in harvesting and he enjoyed it. And he's looking towards the future as a way to, get out of the situation he's in. And Dobbs, when they ask him, he's like, I'm going to go to a Turkish bath, and then I'm going to go to a haberdashery and buy 12 sets of, suits and stuff. And basically he's going to waste all the money. And that scene alone annoyed the shit out of me because I was like, this guy's a loser and he's, always going to be stuck in that situation. And, things don't end well for him. Spoilers, but he annoyed me. So he was very good. That's nothing to do with Humphrey Bogart himself. Like he was great. Everybody was really good in it, but the character annoyed me. Here's a funny line from in here. On seeing Walter Houston's performance, Bogart famously said, "1 Houston is bad enough, but 2 are murder." I forgot where I was going with that, but it was, I remember now. It was the circling back to, because of that character flaw and his sort of loserness, he kept coming back to everyone's going to betray me. And it was just, to me, it was rehashed a few too many times. There was, had to be at least 3 times where they talked about that. And it, they were going to break up and how they were going to split up the gold and who's going to carry it. And, it just it was too much. Like by the end, I was like, okay, we get it. And it, it was fine, but it just, it was a little repetitive in places to me. So, and who am I to judge, I guess, on a American classic, but that's just how I felt about it watching the movie. I think it just dragged it out a little bit more than it needed to be. But still, 4 stars, very good start to the 1948 year of Oscars. All right, I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you next time.